In 2021, a nonpartisan poll showed that just 16% of Americans think democracy is working at least somewhat well. 16%! Whoa. This is the USA, people. Democracy is the foundation of the greatest nation in the history of the world, right? Religious freedom, freedom of speech, due process, free and fair elections, and the fundamental belief that we are all equal under the law. Many have fought and died for these basic principles of our freedom, also known as democracy. And look, no one would argue that our nation is perfect, but we can't take our democracy for granted, no matter which political party we belong to. Because the thing is, we've never been closer to losing it. Toppling a democracy doesn't always take a violent coup. No, democracy can be lost quietly, even legally. Have you ever heard of a managed democracy? It's where elections are held, sure, but everyone knows the outcome ahead of time, regardless of the vote. That's what we see in Russia, where Vladimir Putin gradually concentrated power that he has no intention of relinquishing. Also Brazil, while Jair Bolsonaro, badly trailing his opponent for the next presidential election, is already working with advisor Steve Bannon to undermine the voting system. Bolsonaro claims the country's elections are fraudulent, and that either we'll have clean elections or we won't have elections. Does that sound familiar?
These elections will be fraudulent, they'll be fixed, they'll be rigged.
And in Hungary, Prime Minister Viktor Orban has rewritten his country's constitution and changed election rules to ensure he stays in power. He's been pretty open about his desire to overthrow the concept of Western democracy, replacing it with what he calls illiberal democracy, or Christian democracy. Orban wants to replace the multiculturalism at the heart of democracy with one religion. So look, these are not democracies. Voting is a purely theatrical event in these countries. For most Americans, a guy like Viktor Orban just isn't on our radar. But he sure does have some notable fans here in the States. In 2019, Fox TV personality Tucker Carlson moved his show to Hungary for a week, where Orban spent $265,000 to arrange an interview with him. Donald Trump endorsed Orban's re-election, again, the kind of election where you just stay in power no matter how many people actually voted. And recently, Mike Pence spoke at a forum in Orban's capital city of Budapest, telling the audience he hoped the US Supreme Court would soon outlaw abortion thanks to the 3 conservative justices Trump appointed. So while our social media feeds fill up with over-the-top stories designed to distract and divide us, powerful right-wing extremists are studying up on democracy, Hungarian style, and making moves to take power away from the American people. Trump and his lawyer John Eastman, who literally wrote the memo on how to overturn the will of the American people after Trump lost the election in 2020, might have failed on the first go-around. But as of today, their political operatives have introduced 33 new election laws under review in 19 states specifically designed to make it harder for Americans to vote and have our votes counted. These new laws are designed to replace our democracy with something else, namely, rule by minority party of anti-democracy extremists. Listen, no matter what you believe or who you stand behind, voting is the bedrock of American democracy. So anyone trying to suppress our right to vote is an enemy of democracy. And anyone trying to change our laws to turn the United States into a Russia-like managed democracy is violating the principles of our founding fathers. An attack on our democracy is really an attack on our freedom and dishonors the sacrifice of our military and all those who have fought so hard for nearly 250 years to realize the basic human rights promised by our Constitution. There's more work to be done, oh yes, to reach that ever more perfect union, but we won't be able to address all of the major challenges still facing us without the bedrock of democracy to work from. This is Mason Greer, reporting for Bold Rethink.